Speaking of things that are mind-blowing, we have New York City here, folks, just completely being thrown into the ground. And Democrats have been running this show in New York for quite some time now. And you had Giuliani at one point basically bringing New York into a comeback stage by getting rid of crime and being harsh on it. And now it's just you give Democrats control and this is what happens. Look, the economy was doing great. Everything was doing great in America. Immigration was pretty much solved for the most part. We were still working on it, building the border wall, getting things done. Then Joe Biden comes in office. Look what happens with immigration. Millions of people pouring across the border, over 200,000 per month. You got terrorists, drug cartel, drugs pouring across. It's just sex trafficking. I mean, the amount of crime that's coming across the border is just mind-blowing. You have a debacle going in foreign policy. That was pretty much solved. We had peace in the Middle East. We had everything being done foreign-wise. People respecting us once again. Now look what's happened. You got a war in Ukraine. You have China wanting to do more and implement more things. And now we have our own military saying they're our greatest threat. That was a news headline today. I mean, the amount of things that Democrats have done to turn everything upside down is mind-boggling. And we're seeing it in real time with these Democrat-ran cities. I'm just merely using New York as an example here. So we have multiple video clips here regarding what's going on in New York, about 3 or 4 of them. We have a New York City teen released after allegedly assaulting a police officer in a wild caught-on-video subway brawl, and it was sprung 3 days earlier for a violent attack and has prior arrest for gun possession. And everyone's wondering, like, why is this guy released? He's just going out committing more crime. So we got a video clip here posted by Andy No, and there's no sound on it. And for those that are listening, I'll kind of walk you through what's going on here. This is taking place in the subway system in New York. Let's go ahead and roll it. So you got 2 police officers, both African-American, okay? You got a male and female officer, and they're just raining punches on this black officer. So now you got the black officer fighting the black guy, and then you got the black woman police officer fighting his girlfriend that's also black. And I mean, now he has the officer basically in a chokehold, which is very scary. They're still grappling and fighting. The officer's clearly fighting for his life. The guy doesn't want to give up. And then they're always shocked when they get shot or something, right? They're always shocked when they get tased, and Black Lives Matter goes out and does all these things. So they're still fighting. Just gets him to the ground, still grappling to get a hold on him. I don't know where the citizens are at on this. You got to help the officer out a little bit. Somebody needs to help the guy. So the officer has him. He's on top of him now. The woman just got apprehended by other people. Looked like some other people came in. But this is what's going on in New York all the time. This is what's going on in all Democrat and leftist ran cities where they're fighting police officers. Okay? This wasn't like a white on black thing. This was black on black, where you have a black person fighting a black police officer. Where's the racism there? Where's Black Lives Matter at on this? Where are they out shoving out this video of what not to do for young men and women, regardless of race? Because they're nowhere to be seen. They don't give a crap about the black community. They don't give a crap about New York. They don't give a crap about Minneapolis. They don't give a crap about Charlottesville. They don't give a crap about anywhere in the United States where there's predominantly a large portion of black people, because it's all in for the money. They're all for the greed. They want to buy their $6 million mansions. But yet you have this going on in New York and Democrat-ran cities all the time. And it is mind-blowing to me. And then when the cop does something, then it's all the cop's fault. It's always the cop's fault. It's never these knuckleheads' faults that are actually committing the crime. And this guy should have never been on the street anyways. He's clearly a repeat offender. And we see this in Los Angeles as well. You see this in Portland, Oregon. You see this in Seattle as well. All these leftist ran areas where they're just releasing these criminals. They're not actually doing anything with them. And sometimes there's no bond. They literally just are out free willy-nilly. It is so baffling to me that you have people that will continue to vote for the Democrat Party and allow this to happen. And it's also why they're voting for this is because it's not happening to them. That's the thing. It actually hasn't impacted them yet. And so until they actually wake up and something does impact them, then they'll realize it. It's kind of like that idea of they want to take away our guns, the Democrat Party, right? The progressive left. They're not always being outspoken about it. Some are, but they want to basically have America rid of firearms until somebody either shoots them, tries to rob them, or does something. And they're hoping that the police will come in like the next 10 to 30 seconds, nowhere to be found. I'm sure at that point they wish they had a gun. I'm sure at that point they wish they can use their Second Amendment rights to protect them and their families. But again, things aren't going to change until it impacts them. Well, we have a clip here from Fox News itself that details out what actually took place and what is going on regarding police officers in New York with them resigning and giving in their resignations. Let's go ahead and roll the clip.
Joe Cardinale's the NYPD lieutenant, retired. Joe, nice to see you and welcome back. It has happened yet again. What Brian just said is alarming. Crime is up 53% in the subways. The mayor is a former transit cop. That was his beat when he was a police officer.
Correct. 7 months in, nothing happening. So
Shocker.
I don't know what, if this doesn't demonstrate how far things have gotten out of control, I don't know what will. This would never happen years ago. Never happen.
Never?
Because, never. It would never happen like this because it would be, no, they would have the fear of being prosecuted. They would have the fear of repercussions from the police that they would go over there and force more stations like that. But that's not the conditions today. Today, cops walk around by themselves. They want to put them by themselves. We had that discussion, and thank God he wasn't by himself. He had some assistance over here. And look what we've come to. I mean, Pat Lynch is right. They would prosecute the cop faster than they would prosecute this individual.
Really?
Oh, definitely, because if the cop would have used that chokehold, that would have been front page. And thank God for Fox News. And I'm not just saying it because I'm here and I've been here.
What a great point, right? What a great point this guy's making. We'll come back to in a second. The cop gets a chokehold on him and nobody's up in arms over it. The guy's taking punches to the face, taking body shots, being thrown to the ground. Nobody is in defense of the police officer, but everybody's going to be in defense of that guy because he's black and, you know, police officer, police brutality and all these things. You should just read the comments of that Twitter feed from Andy No. Oh, well, he has a taser, you know, he has a batard, though. Those two should be good enough to get the guy subdued. Aren't they trained with all this? Like, it just shows you some people are just dumb. I mean, some people are really dumb. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised by that because we see dumb people all the time. They just so happen to be in the White House and on The View. So let's go ahead and continue this clip from Fox News.
Because this station is the only one that brings this to light. This is not being covered on the other stations the way it's covered here. And so only the people that watch this station will really get the gist of what's happening. So this has to be outrage amongst all New Yorkers, and it's not happening. And I don't understand.
It's all big cities across America. I appreciate the compliment on that. But, Joe, here's what Pat Lynch said. From the union, the criminals underground know they can get in a brawl, choke a cop, and be back out in hours. Cops are putting ourselves on the line to make sure the subways are safer, but we're feeling abandoned by a justice system that will not back us up. True
It's
story.
not the justice system, it's the Democrat Party.
Right. I mean, what did Mayor Adams do when he went up to Albany? Did he, you know, run to protect his cops? Did he put that foremost, that this is the issue up there? Or did he put the fact that he wants to control the schools on the table first? And that's what he came back with. He didn't come back with a plan for these cops. These cops are out there by themselves, fighting every day by themselves. Thank God they have the union backing them up and each other, because they definitely do not have the support of this city council, this mayor, or this government. It has nothing to do.
Here are the numbers, Joe. To date in New York now, 2,119 officers have left the job, 1,472 retiring, 647 resigning. That number of resignations is significant because when you resign, you leave without your pension. You're turning your back on your career. That's a big statement.
That's a major statement. This, I said it before, this was the job people ran to. Now it's the job they're running away from. All right, they're going down to Florida. They're going to other areas where cops are appreciated, right, where they know they can still be a cop and still, you know, get the appreciation from the public, from the government, from whoever they're serving. But in New York, it's a thankless job right now. It's thankless, and it's pretty soon with the mass exodus, it's going to be the blind leading the blind, because you do not have the expertise that's being passed down from one cop to another cop to say, you know, handle situations like this, do what you have to do. It's really become, we're in dire straits right now.
I was just in Chicago last weekend, and they have a similar story where the police are leaving the Chicago Police Department and they're going to work for other towns, smaller towns where they believe that they've got greater protection.
Republican conservative towns is where they're going.
How sad is that you sign up for a career? All right, it's like almost like if you went into journalism, if you turn around and they started getting really bad and you just said, you know what, I'm throwing the towel in after 20 years, 30 years. You know, it's sad. It's the same thing for the cops. They don't want to leave the jobs. They're being forced. What alternative do they have when no matter which way you turn in this city, you're going to get prosecuted? That they'll prosecute you faster than they will the people that are assaulting you in the subways.
Something's got to change. Joe, thanks for coming back today.
Anytime, Bill.
Craziness, folks. Craziness coming from New York. And that's not even to the extent of it. I mean, this crime is obviously happening in Chicago, like you just heard. Police officers leaving there. They're going to Florida and localities. And I want to be specific of where they're going. They're going to red areas. They're not going to blue areas. They're not going to leftist ran areas like Los Angeles, right? They're not going to Portland, Oregon. They're not going to Seattle, Washington. No. They're going to red areas because they know they're going to be appreciated by those in the red areas. And it's just astonishing here that the assault of our officers in the subway system is an example of emboldened by a system that just days ago immediately released one of them after being arrested for robbery. Days for just having robbery. And then people are completely baffled. I'm talking about the Democrats of, oh my God, that guy committed another crime. I thought he'd be okay. I thought he might have learned his lesson. He had a couple days in jail. I thought he would have just got it. No. The 16-year-old, whose name is being withheld due to his age, was captured in a 54-second clip throwing more than 20 punches at an officer, slamming the cop into a metal gate and dragging him on the floor in a chokehold. But again, Black Lives Matter, nowhere to be found. Nancy Pelosi, nowhere to be found. Maxine Waters, nowhere to be found. AOC, nowhere to be found. Chuck Schumer, nope. Bernie Sanders, nope. Ilhan Omar, nope. All these people are so quick to be out there with Black Lives Matter, always so quick to say America's racist, always so quick to say our institutions are racist, always so quick to say that police brutality is at an alarming rate. All these things, when this is mainstream, nowhere to be found because they don't care. They have an agenda to push, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure that agenda does get pushed, which is why you saw them say, oh, well, no other station's covering it like you guys are, Fox. No other station's even really covering it at all, basically. Why? Because again, it's not a white police officer going against a black guy. It's black on black. And now it doesn't fit their narrative. So there's that. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.